Today I'm going to talk about some Anson belts, but before I get into these, let me give you a little bit of an idea of why these micro-adjustable ratchet style belts are amazing and why you should totally get rid of anything of the style that I have in this box here. If you've been following along, over the past couple of years I've reviewed a bunch of different belts. Some regular belts, some Velcro belts, and then several of these style belts with core and next belt. And when I first saw these kind of belts, I thought that's one of those like as seen on TV because that's where I first saw it, and I dismissed them as a gimmick. And then I saw them in person and I got one, and since getting them and since wearing these belts, I have not worn a regular belt. If you're not familiar with how these micro adjustable belts work, let me give you the quick primer. On the back of the strap of the belt here, there is this track, and the track has these spots every 1/4 inch, which means that you can adjust this belt at 1/4 inch increments instead of whole inch increments as you could on a typical 5-hole belt. On the buckle, this piece right here is what locks in to each groove of that track. And you undo this by moving this lever up, which moves this down and allows you to take the belt out. This piece here is locked back in place by this magnet right here. So there's no moving parts like a spring to break because you just release it and that magnet pulls it back down, and that's what keeps that locked in place. So when you're putting the belt on, you feed it through the buckle, and then you can see that down in there, that little piece is locking in to that track and not going to come back out. To release it, you would just push down this lever that lifts that little piece up, and then you can take it off. When I moved from my old house to my new house 3 years ago, I took all of my old belts and I put them in this box and I sealed it, and I conveniently labeled it belts, so I knew what it was. And this box sat sealed in my closet for 2 years living in this house until I opened it just to make this point about these style belts. And the point is that this box is all my old 5-hole belts, and I have not touched any of these in 5 years? I don't know, however long it was that I did my first ratchet style belt video, I've not worn one of these belts, and they've just been sitting in this box. And since I moved, none of them have come out except to say, hey, look, I used to think this was a nice belt, and look how flimsy these belts are. I took my concealed carry course with this belt, and turns out not a great belt. With these 5-hole belts, you are limited obviously to inch increments. And if you want to try and change this midday, maybe you ate and you got a little bit, your waist got a little bit more relaxed, I'll say, it's hard to get up and adjust this. Whereas these micro adjustable belts, very easy to just very discreetly add a 1/4 inch, subtract a 1/4 inch. Very easy to do this. And then also this one's not bad because it has metal eyelets, but some of the ones that don't have these, they can get pretty worn over time. Whereas these belts really have no wear. Anson's been around since 2009. It's a father-son company. I spoke with David Freeze, the son, and he gave me some of the backstory on these belts and how they came over here. One of the things that Anson offers compared to some of their competitors is that they have a lifetime warranty on their belts. I looked at the website for core and next belt and slide belt and mission belt, and they are all 1-year warranties. Anson's going to stand by their products for a lifetime. Their belts come in a bunch of different materials, from leather to canvas, real and faux crocodile. They have this cool Invincible belt I'll show you. They also come in nylon, and for you vegan types, they have that as well. They come in 2 different sizes, 1.25 and 1.5 inches, and as a little interesting fun fact, the 1.25 is actually a 1.1875 inches, and the 1.5 inches is actually 1.375 inches, and that's because they're actually in metric 30 and 35 millimeters. All of my belts are that way. I had no idea. I thought they were 1.25 and 1.5 inches. But point being, if you're concerned about the size of your belt loops, they're going to be just slightly smaller than the stated size, so be aware of that. They have 4 different buckle options. They have traditional, which is my favorite because it looks most like a normal belt. They also have classic and onyx and golf, which has a dimpled appearance, kind of like a golf ball. You can get these belts in a couple different forms. You can get it as a single belt for $49.99 on the low end, or some of the crocodile ones get more expensive, or you can get the box set, which is typically 3 straps and 2 buckles, or 3 buckles and 2 straps, or for $14.99 you can add an extra buckle or an extra strap to get 3 of each to give you, I think, 9 total combinations. It's a no-brainer, $49.99 versus $99.99. Totally go for the box set. It's a much better deal, much more versatility. And the buckles and the straps are all interchangeable. They're very easy to swap them between them. For the most part, a lot of my belts that I wear daily to work sit on the shelf in my closet, and I'll just pluck one out as I need to for work. but sometimes it is nice to hang them up to get them out of the way. Anson offers a 4-belt hanger for $24.99. This hangs it by the strap end of the belt so that the buckle is dangling kind of down, potentially under the shelf or just straight down. I will say that Core offers a plastic hanger, which is cheaper, hangs it by the buckle end, and I do feel like that's a little bit better design, both price and design-wise. These belts will fit from a 16 to a 50-inch waist, and sizing of them is pretty straightforward. Take it out of the box. This is the graphite canvas strap, and comes at a 50-inch length. Get the buckle, and then all you do is you unravel the strap. And at one end of the strap is going to be the track, and that's what the buckle locks into, and then the other end is just unfinished. Put the buckle onto the strap. Feed it all the way in there, and then just simply lock that in place. Take care when you put it in to make it as straight as possible so you don't get it at some funky angle. You put the belt on like normal, and then you feed the end through the buckle. And for most people, this is going to be long because it's sized for a 50-inch waist, so you're going to have some excess here. It's not going to lock in place because the track is way out here. So you put it to where you think it is maybe going to be, and you say, I want it to be this long. And it's better initially to cut it longer than shorter because obviously you can come back and cut more out of it later. So you say maybe to right here. You measure that. That is about 13 inches from the end of the belt. So we're going to come back and cut 13 inches off the other end. So you take it back off, and now we're going to cut 13 inches from this end. Right about there. And there we have that, and then we just put it back into the buckle. Lock it in place. And put it back on. There you go, that's simple. Side note, I know I'm wearing this backwards by technical belt standards, but that's because when I carry a gun with it, I put extra magazines over here, and I like the single ply of the belt over here for the extra magazines. To undo it, you just simply pull the lever here, releases the track, and you pull it back out. Easy enough. Some closing thoughts on these belts now that I've had them for a while. I've had a chance to wear them through different situations. I've worn them to work, I've worn them carrying a gun, so I can get a bit of a perspective on them now. Overall, as a general idea, I love the micro adjustable belts, as I've said. I love how easy they are to wear and adjust and get to just the right size. I love the idea that the holes on them, they don't have those 5 holes that wear over time. The Anson belts in general are great as well. I have 3 of their regular belts and 2 of their gun belts. The regular belts are soft and pliable, I would say more so than some of the other brands that I have. Their Invincibelt that I have is a little bit heavier and thicker, I would say, but it has this cool design, and that Invincibelt with that non-marring finish is kind of just a cool look to it. This is the camo one of theirs. Also, their canvas strap belt, I have the gray canvas, it's kind of a blue-gray, and this has been great for wearing with some of the gray pants that I wear to work. Their gun belts, I have their 5-stitch nylon gun belt and their leather strap gun belt. And as a general comparison of these to some of the other brands that I have, I would say that these are softer and more pliable also. Their leather is a lot less stiff than some of the other brands, and this is going to be a bit of a personal preference. For me, I don't like belts that are super stiff because I feel that they are less comfortable and a little bit more restrictive, and I felt that these were soft and pliable enough to be comfortable, yet stiff enough to wear and carry the weight of a gun. If you're going to carry a whole bunch of stuff on your belt and a heavy full-size gun and a bunch of extra magazines and different things, I might want something a little bit stiffer than this leather belt of theirs. And this nylon one, I would say, is definitely stiffer and has much more of a torsional rigidity. They're both great though, depending on how much stiff you're going to be wearing. And I love the fact that this looks like a normal belt. And I would say that the pliability of their leather strap belt is similar to the comfort of some of the non-gun belt versions of other brands. So just to give you an idea of how it is. Overall, the Anson belts are great. I think well worth it for the money, well worth getting the box set so you can get 3 belts and throw in the extra $15 to get that extra buckle or that extra strap so you can get 9 combinations. I'll put links to the website down below. You should totally check them out, and always appreciate you watching, and I'll see you in the next video.